Dean, it seems strange to say welcome to Bruntman Park because it feels like you've been here for weeks, which you have.
Yeah, I've been here for a little over a week now. The gaffer invited me up to come and train, to have a look at me, and yeah, I'm pleased to say that after a week and a game against Wigan, that the gaffer saw what qualities I can add to the squad and offered me a contract.
How did that link up come about in the first place, that ended up with you coming here?
I think the gaffer, I've been away in South Africa for the last 5 years. It was where I was born, and there was always an opportunity to go back there and play. So obviously being away from here for so long, you are very much out of sight, out of mind. So the gaffer remembered me from Oldham and Doncaster from when I was playing here before I left, and he spoke to my agent and said he would like to have a look at me. So I'm very grateful that the gaffer said that, let me come up, train with the lads and play a game, and as I said, he feels that I can add value to the team, and delighted to get signed.
We got to see you on that first day and there was no issues of fitness or being ready or settling in, you just got on with it.
Yeah, I think that's what you have to do, especially when you've been away for a while. You have to come back and hit the ground running. When you go on trial, there's no point being off the pace. So all throughout lockdown, when we were allowed to go out, I was out there running, making sure that when I got the opportunity to go into a club, I was as fit as possible and ready to show the manager, whatever manager that may be, what I'm all about. So there was no point coming in being unfit and sluggish and off the pace. I had to come and hit the ground running.
A very well known name here in England and over in South Africa. I'm guessing this wasn't your only option.
It wasn't, but it's tough out there. Obviously the virus has taken its toll on the economy, and football has not been has taken its hiding as well, so to speak. So it's very, very tough to be out there, a free agent looking for a club. There's so many players in this position. So whilst there were options and there was bits of interest here and there, interest is nothing. It's about getting the opportunity to come in, showing what you're all about, and getting that contract offer. So interest is one thing, and getting a contract offer is a very different thing altogether.
What's it like for a player being on trial, Dean? Because you don't know what's going to happen at the end of it. You might be told, off you go, it's not quite for you.
It's not nice, I can tell you that much. You're always wondering if the manager's watching you. So if one slips under your foot or you give the ball away, you're looking around to see where's the manager, did he see that? Or if you put one in the top corner, you're hoping that he's been watching you. So you're always on edge a little bit. But for me, it's about trying to be yourself. It's about trying to come in, show what you're all about on the pitch, because that's what the manager's really looking at. He's looking to see what you can add to the squad. So you've got to try and relax into it as quickly as possible. It's not easy. It's like being the new kid at school. It's not easy, but you've got to settle into your environment very quickly. Sometimes you've got 1 or 2 days. Sometimes you've got a week. You just got to give everything from the very first minute on the training pitch.
And the game the other day, when the passes are coming off and you're being vocal and the lads are reacting to what you're saying, you must have felt to yourself, this is going okay.
Yeah, it was enjoyable, the game. I really enjoyed it. I thought we played really well against a decent Wigan side. I know they're going through some of their own issues, but they put out a very experienced and a good team, so it was a good test for us. And I was really impressed with how we played on the day. It felt as if we could score every time we went forward, and it looked as if we were very solid at the back. So for a player coming in, it was quite an exciting game to be involved in, to see that, right, this team's actually looking really good. So for me, as I said, I had to be myself. I had to try and play as if I'd been here for a few years and I was in my natural environment. And if you're not like that and you go into your shell, you're not going to express yourself, you're not going to show the manager what you're about, and invariably it doesn't lead to a contract. So I just had to try and relax, play my game, and hope for the best, and thankfully the gaffer just saw that I could add some value to this team.
Is it a sea of new faces, Dean, or did you know anybody that you were able to help to settle you in through this process?
I knew Luis Alessandra from back in the day at Oldham, which it's great to see that he's here as well. He lives nearby, so we can travel up together when everything settles down. So that's a familiar face, but I think once you get into a dressing room, you start talking to lads, there's always someone who knows someone, and there's always a connection somewhere. So very quickly in a football dressing room, you get to know the guys, and there's always a link somewhere, and so it doesn't take very long to settle down at all.
So you know this season's sorted. What's Chris said about what he wants from you this year?
I think collectively that there seems to be a really some big aspirations. Maybe not fancied by the bookies and from the outside, but I think building a really young, hungry squad. And if a few of the pre-season games are anything to go by, I think if we have a relatively injury-free season, I think we can upset a few teams and upset the bookies maybe. So we're quietly confident within the dressing room. I think that we're really putting together a good squad who's going to be very, very competitive. And who knows? We've seen the likes of Wickham do things that no one expected, and hopefully we can really have a good go at it this season.
And for yourself, Dean, is this a chance to re-establish the English side of your football career?
I think so. Yeah, I was going along nicely when the opportunity to go to South Africa came about. So I took a bit of a different turn in my career, which was absolutely fantastic few years over there, which was very successful in terms of lifting trophies and playing for a top club over there. But I'm happy to be back. I've just had a little one, so it's nice to be back with the family. And for me, on the football side of things, it's great to be back in the dressing room with the lads, and I can't wait to get stuck into League Two.
Now, you mentioned the pandemic. I think the little one is part of the reason why you came back to the Manchester area. But what a time to make the move. That makes it even more uncertain.
Yeah, well, we had made our decision before the pandemic was there. Once my wife fell pregnant, we decided that we wanted to be closer to our family. My parents are down in London. My wife's family is all from Manchester. So we decided that we wanted to come back and be close to family. Then the pandemic hit and things took a turn for the worse. So it wasn't the pandemic that kind of altered our decision. We had made our decision before that, but it just made things slightly more difficult. But yeah, we're still here, we're smiling, we've got a beautiful little girl, and yeah, we're very happy to be back with family.
Now, I know that travel, particularly from that region at that time, was difficult. How did you get back? Was it a smooth journey?
It wasn't. It wasn't. I sent my wife back just before we went into lockdown in South Africa the day before. She got on a flight. And I said to her, I'll get back when I can. And I sat in lockdown, and it was a stricter lockdown in South Africa. You could go to the grocery store or the pharmacy, and that was it. There was no walking on the streets, no going for a run. That was all you could do. So I was there for about 2.5 months by myself. I'd cancelled flights. We had kind of realised the fact that I might not be there for the birth of my child. So it was a bit of a tough time. Thankfully, I managed to get back in time, and yeah, as I say, here today and smiling. But it was a tough time. But hopefully things are looking a bit better over there at the moment, and which is really good, because the country went through like everywhere, went through turmoil for a few months. So I'm hoping that better days are ahead.
Something else that just sprung to mind hearing you speak there. So you've moved to South Africa in 2015, or whenever it was. So there's no family network over there for support for you two? You've just gone over there and tried something new? No,
well, I was born there, so I do have plenty of family there. So it wasn't like we were going to a strange place where we knew no one. I've got aunts and uncles and plenty of family over there. So it wasn't like we were going to a place that I didn't know and didn't know anyone. We had a lot of support there, but we just felt it was right for us to come back and be closer to our immediate family.
Even rewinding further, little Dean Furman, when he's 5 years old, do you remember anything about growing up over there?
I do, and going back there just kind of brought those memories back to life. So it was a fantastic 5 years. It was football-wise, it was great, but in terms of living and just immersing myself into a new culture and a different way of living and meeting new people and taking on new experiences, it was an absolutely fantastic 5 years, and very lucky to pair that with a fantastic kind of footballing journey. So it's something that I would recommend to many players. Go and try something different, go do something, because you can always come back home. But for me it was a fantastic journey, and some of the highlights of my career were certainly there over my last 5 years.
Now, I know people who live in Carlisle were on the brink of one of the finest national parks in the world, and they've been into it two or three times. Sounds like you took the opportunity that you had over the last 5 years.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When you're from a place, you often don't explore it. So for us, going back over there, any opportunity we could, we went to explore the country. So if we had a weekend off or a few days off, we'd go on a safari, we'd go down to Cape Town, we'd go to Durban, we'd really go and explore the country, and it's an absolutely incredible place. So for us being there alongside the football, we did try to live as tourists as much as we could, and explore the most incredible and diverse country, with so much to offer. So we really made the most of it.
What a career, Dean. How did Chelsea happen? How did that come about?
Chelsea, I was there. I was playing for my local side down in London. That's where I grew up when I moved from South Africa, and got scouted at the age of 9. So I was at Chelsea from 9 till 18, which was an incredible upbringing. Going full time at the age of 16, Brendan Rodgers was my youth team coach, and I've got so much to thank him for, because he was absolutely incredible. Both on and off the pitch. He was. A lot of us lived away from home at the time. I wasn't too far from my home, but just a bit too far to travel every day. So I was in digs, and we started signing boys from Bristol and Manchester, and so Brendan almost became like a bit of a father figure to us off the pitch. Really taught us what the real world's all about. On the pitch, absolutely incredible coach, and it's no surprise to see how well he's done in his career and where he is today. It was an unbelievable time as I went full time. That's when Abramovich came in, so the money started coming in, but you're rubbing shoulders with the likes of kind of Frank Lampard, John Terry, Didier Drogba, Arjen Robben, the most incredible players, and to be a young player and seeing how they train and look after themselves was a great way to start my career, to look up to those players.
Other lads talking about that Brendan Rodgers period, they'll say that he was an innovator. It was new, it was fresh. Is that what you remember of him?
Yeah, very much. It was at the same time that Mourinho took over. And I think what was great at the time is that the club had a philosophy that the youth team and reserve team should work the same way as the first team. So Mourinho came in with a 4-3-3 and a diamond, and the youth team, we played 4-3-3 and a diamond. They had similar training philosophies, they had similar ways of playing, but working under Brendan specifically was incredible. Just his knowledge of the game, the way he developed young players at the time, the way he worked in our games, the way he made us understand the game from a tactical point of view was second to none, and it's definitely what was the foundation to my career, and very lucky to have done that.
Chelsea's not bad. Let's have a go at Rangers.
Yeah, so unfortunately at 18, they actually signed a player who came here, Tom Taiwo, and another player from Leeds at the time, both centre midfielders, and it was the end of my time there, unfortunately. And Brendan, through his links with Celtic, he sent me up to Celtic, had a week up at Celtic, and whilst I was up there, had someone who took me over to Rangers, so I came back down to Chelsea and then went up to Rangers. And at the end of my week there, they offered me a contract, so end up signing for Rangers, and an incredible few years. It allowed me to become more involved with the first team than I was at Chelsea. I was training with the likes of Barry Ferguson, Kevin Thompson, Davy Weir, top players, and then I was more involved with the first team on a match day as well. I was on the bench most weeks, and ended up maybe making my debut at the age of 19. So to go from Chelsea, massive club, to Glasgow Rangers is a massive move at the age of 19, and just that first team experience was so valuable to me at that age. Stepping up from kind of a youth team to going into the first team was really massive for me, and it really gave me a taste of being in the first team.
And the loan spell south of the border, you must have found out a lot about yourself through that one.
Yeah, so Stuart McCall, obviously a Rangers legend. I think he spoke to Walter Smith, who was a manager at the time. I think he used to watch Rangers TV and used to watch the reserve games. So Stuart came in for me. At the time, I'd just made my debut, and I was hoping that I was going to get a few more goes in the first team at Rangers, but they went and signed Pedro Mendes and Steve Davis, and I very quickly realised, along with Barry Ferguson, Kevin Thompson, Charlie Adam, there wasn't going to be much space for me. So when Stuart McCall came calling, jumped at the chance. It was an opportunity to play regularly first team, and I absolutely loved my time down at Bradford. It was a fantastic season. Unfortunately, we just fell away from the playoffs at the end of the season. So ended pretty poorly, but the season was fantastic, and to be playing every week in front of 14,000 fans there was fantastic, and it opened my eyes to say, I want to be playing every week. I don't want to go back and play in the reserves. I don't want to go back and sit on the bench. I want to play on a Saturday at 3 o'clock, and that's what that season gave me. It just gave me a taster of training throughout the week and being an important player that plays on a Saturday. So That was why I didn't really want to go back up to Rangers. They offered me a new contract to stay there, but I just knew that I need to be playing every week, and that's where I got the move down to Oldham, on the back of that season on loan at Bradford.
And that's where you really established yourself as a first-team football player.
Yeah, very much. It was a tough first season under Dave Penny at Oldham. We were fighting relegation for most of the season. It was a tough season, but the second season, Paul Dickoff came in. We were far more successful. He made me captain at 23. Which was a huge responsibility as a 23-year-old when you've got 30-year-olds in the dressing room to they're probably looking at me thinking, what's this 23-year-old going to tell me? So it was a huge responsibility for him to give me, and I'm always grateful for him for giving me that. But yeah, fantastic few years at Oldham, and really enjoyed playing under Dickoff there, and got a few interesting memories playing down here, including, as I was telling you before, a last-minute equaliser, which doesn't sit too well, and it's 10 years ago, but I remember it like it was yesterday.
I suppose that gives you an intro and a reminder of what the Carlisle fans can be like as well.
Yeah, I remember it was always a tough place to come to, and that's something that the boys are talking about here. We have to make this a fortress this season. I know every team says that, but in particular here, we've got to make it a place that teams don't want to come to. That's very difficult, and I just hope we can get the fans back in before long. It will be very strange playing league football without any fans. So we hope they're back in here before long. But I do remember fans behind the goal there sucking the ball in, and having to go over to the away fans, and we were gutted at the end of it. So I know what this place can be like. I know it can be. There can be a great atmosphere here, and hopefully before long the fans will be back, and we can show them some good football on the pitch.
You've touched on this, Dean, but South Africa, trophies, medals, success, a real buzz around the club that you were at. That must give you a taste for more of the same.
Yeah, very much. I think the great thing that playing in South Africa gave me was the chance to win trophies. So you're playing in the top league, there's quite a few cups, trophies on offer, and as one of the top teams you're always one of the favourites to win it. So I think I was in 7 cup finals, won 4 of them. We went to the final of the equivalent of the Europa League, which was travelling throughout Africa and going all over, playing in Tunisia, playing in Congo, playing in Guinea. So been all over Africa, but ultimately lifting trophies is what you remember. It's not the odd league game you remember, it's the cup finals, and cup finals with 45,000-50,000 people there, lifting the trophy at the end of it is what it's all about. So for me, having a taste of lifting trophies and being successful is something that I'm very, very proud of, and it's something that I hope I can rub off onto this team, and hopefully we can have a successful season ahead. Random
question, Dean, but the heat over there, it's not just the heat, the humidity sucks the air out of the air that you're trying to breathe. How do you acclimatise to that?
You don't. A 3 o'clock kickoff at 35 degrees playing at altitude I don't think you ever can acclimatise to it. It is incredibly tough. It's a summer league over there. So it's the same time as it is here, and a 3 o'clock game, it's a nightmare. It's very, very tough. We try to get as many 7 o'clock games as possible because at least it's a little bit cooler there, but you can't acclimatise to it. You just got to get on with it, find extra energy reserves from somewhere. It's very, very tough. But playing on the African continent, that's something you've got to contend with. The heat is very tough. Don't think we're going to see too many of those temperatures up here, and I'll have to get used to playing in the cold again, but I'm very excited for it.
People like us always ask you to compare what's South African football like compared to English football.
Yeah, it's a question that I always got over there on that side. It is different. I would say it's far more physical here, probably more direct. I think that there's an emphasis on playing out from the back and maybe keeping it on the floor. It's very, very quick there. The speed of the game is very quick. There's a lot of combination play. What I will say about the football in South Africa, it's not necessarily, we're not physically the biggest footballing nation. So everything's on the floor. So everything's about combination play and quick speed of play, 1-2s, and trickery. Whereas here, I would say it's a bit more physical, probably a lot more direct. Get the ball in the box, get the ball into key areas. So there are differences in the game. and it definitely took some adapting when I went over there. A few too many yellow cards because tackles that you get away with here certainly can't do over there. So it took a bit of getting used to, but it was great for my game to kind of immerse myself in a different style of football as well, which definitely helped me come a long way.
Playing for your country, that's not bad, is it?
Yeah, it's been incredible. It really has been incredible. I've probably ticked off 2/3 of Africa. I've played in 3 African Cup of Nations. Played the likes of Brazil and Spain, and it's been absolutely amazing to rub shoulders with some of the best players in the world. So it's been an incredible journey, one that I'm very, very proud of, and to represent your country is certainly one of the highest honours you can receive as a player. So I'm very proud to have got over 50 caps for the national team, and yeah, it's been an incredible experience.
That first time when you're making your debut for the senior side, tear in the eye, anything like that?
Yeah, it was. I had to pinch myself because my debut was away against Brazil. So I'm kind of looking down when we're doing the national anthems, and I'm seeing like Neymar, David Luiz, Hulk, Marcelo. So yeah, I kind of had to pinch myself. But when I did, when there was a tear in the eye, was when my parents came to watch. We played a friendly in Poland. My parents came over to watch, and for them, when they heard the national anthem, that was a very, very special moment for them. So that was probably a bit emotional, but it's been a really incredible journey. A tough one because travelling on the continent in Africa is not quite what travelling on the continent in Europe's like. There's some challenges, but yeah, with those challenges, some of the best experiences of my life for sure.
All of those caps, a Premier League player over there, all of the success that you've just had, the hunger, you can see it, it's still there, even though you're in League Two over in England now.
Yeah, I love playing football. Love playing football. I want to win. If I lose in training, I'm miserable. So that's inside me, and that'll be inside me as long as I'm kicking the ball, and probably after. Still feel I have a lot to offer, and I'm hoping very much that I can show it here this season.
And we'll finish, because I've kept you way too long, but with the question that you're back. What are your targets this season?
Why not say it? We want to go up. We want to push on. We want to get promoted. I don't think that'd be the wrong thing to say. I'm sure if you ask any of the lads, that's what we want to say. That's where we want to be this season. So, as I say, I think we've put together an exciting young squad that, on the basis of what I've seen, should be able to challenge if we're all on form and we have a relatively injury-free season. So, yeah. No point being here if we don't want to challenge for the top honours. So hopefully we're going to have a very good season, and can't wait to get started.
Dean, that was an absolute pleasure.